symbolic in many different religious cultures. Because it can wash away impurities.
Water has played a key role in many religious beliefs and has led to many religious practices. Many religions have beliefs or rituals that associate water with the power to clean us from our moral impurities. Water plays a critical part in nearly every part of the world. There are many environmental concerns regarding the use of water and its pollutants. In order for successful water management policies to occur, the cultural and religious traditions and values must be considered.
Despite the importance of water in our daily lives, there are some who don't seem to find a problem with overusing. Wealthy, for instance, in California, who have stated that all are not equal to water and have complained about having to golf on brown golf courses, when, as we can see, the agriculture is clearly failing.
Come away, little lost, come away to the water, to the ones that are waiting only for you. Come away, little lost, come away to the water, away from the life that you always knew. We are calling.
State and federal agencies have compounded the situation by supporting the privatization of water due to economic insecurities.
No stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree? Are you coming to the tree where dead man called out?
State and local agencies have propagated the issue by being on the side of privatization. This has forced locals to travel many, many miles for a reliable water source or go without water completely.
And so began my love affair with water.
Is the artificial use of water to soil to help the production of grown crops. Oftentimes, the water used in irrigation comes from rivers like these. But there are a lot of pros and cons when it comes to irrigation. Nearly 80% of the world's food is provided through the industrialized agriculture through the use of irrigation. But because of these advancements, a lot of the land and people have had to suffer.
When industrialized agriculture developed around the 1950s, irrigated agriculture has increased by 6 times the amount compared to before irrigation. Most of that newly irrigated area has taken place in many of the developing nations in the world. This has given millions of people the opportunity to grow crops that could not have been grown in that type of area before. Not only can a broader amount of crops be grown, irrigation provides a much more sustainable and reliable way of watering. Many chemicals such as fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides have come due to the increase of technology in industrialized agriculture. Most of these chemicals either pollute the water and soil or kill surrounding plants and animals. Problems like these sometimes go unnoticed but can ultimately lead to other serious problems.
Displacement and refugee resettlement is a big issue in our current society. Millions of people are being forced off their lands due to many different oppressive issues. The issue I've chosen to focus on is water scarcity and how it affects agriculture production.
Without fresh water, there is not only a risk for disease to be spread, but not enough produce can be grown to support a community. Two groups who are particularly affected by this issue are small farmers, whether they are the ones with not enough water to grow their crops, or they are the ones in the communities where refugees are resettling, increasing the amount of people who would rather have locally grown produce, or the consumers, whether they are the ones in the communities where produce is scarce or in the communities where refugees are resettling. Everyone is affected by agriculture, whether it be directly or indirectly.
There is a vast competition for water scarcity due to domestic, industrial, and environmental usage of water for protection. In India, about 1.1 billion of its population lacks of 2/3 of clean water. India's main priority for this country is agriculture. For example, in the 70s and early 80s, the government of India invested money by pouring massive dams that were meant to pool water that was reserved for agriculture use. But they lacked on creating an additional infrastructure for carrying water throughout the countryside. Farmers struggle on water supply for their crops. Meanwhile, villagers struggle on consuming fresh water for their daily needs. Another issue portrayed in this country with water usage is for factories. Factories use up a vast amount of water. For example, a Coca-Cola plant had to be shut down in 2004 because it used up most of the groundwater from the villagers living nearby, leaving them with none. For many, this was a matter of losing their jobs, but for others, it meant that their life was at risk due to minimal water being available for them.
Short-term droughts cause stress on both the environment and people. Long-term droughts can lead to war, famine, disease, or mass migrations.
Water is the foundation of life. Without it, there would be no existence. Droughts, for example, can come and terminate you.
At the core of this water problem is the large corporations and world bureaucracies exploiting natural resources of the poor and the weak, displacing people and oppressing communities.